And that's the thing, I think whenever we look at a big project like this, I think that's the concern that we all have. You know, what they're telling me is that when we drop because this amperage drop is going to be about half of what we're doing now. The power we're pulling is going to be about half. So when we go to change out all these components, and they're no longer 15 years old, there you go. The must-go components are all guaranteed for 25 years.
We're good for at least the next 25 years.
This is your recommendation. What is your recommendation? I didn't get that.
I support Mr. Daly. The last couple of months, going through all the data with him.
What fund are we paying for this?
We've got the bond, this amount here is coming out of that bond. It's the last of the bond of 2021. And then the $2,000 panel will come out of our operations.
So if I understand right, all our lights on every pole will be replaced, wires down from everything, inside every pole will be replaced. New panel box 200 service on the east side and the west side, or just the east side? Just the east side where we drilled holes and been leaking water forever, right? Okay.
Yeah, they believe that the west panel is sufficient, given that it's been covered for 15 years. We've only had one failure over there, which was a breaker last year, which again, 15 years, it's not abnormal to have a breaker go bad outside. We've
Right.
had them at all the facilities at some point.
Well, you're flipping them on and off.
Yeah.
And when would be the estimated completion date?
The timeline I've been given is that they can get material on the ground within 6 to 10 weeks is their kind of range. Realistically, I don't think we're going to have any, there'll be nothing for this football season. We would do it as soon as the season's over, have them ready, tested, and ready to roll in the track season. Rather than
Energy harness is LED lights as well.
energy harness or LED lights, correct?
And did we not seek out a quote for them to give us the wiring from all the way through?
No, we did not. No, they've came in multiple times, and that's the quote that they provided.
Well, they've only got a 5-year warranty too, don't they?
Correct.
You don't want that.
Chip, there's one other thing on this quote that is odd to me, and perhaps it's just because I don't normally see them, but this quote specifies that sales tax and bonding are not included. The bonding piece is something I don't normally see. They would have to be bonded. Is it suggesting that we are going to pay the bonding?
No, I don't. That would be, if you look towards the bottom, it says that their credit department handles payment and stuff like that. In our case, we're not using their credit department because we've already bonded that money out.
That has nothing to do with bonding. That's if there's issues with construction.
Yeah.
That's where the liability comes in.
I believe we require all of our contractors to be bonded. Is there, do you know the limit that they're supposed to have and how that normally gets confirmed? I just don't, it just looks like, the way it reads, almost like they're gonna give us the bill for the bonding.
My understanding is the 206,525 is flat. That's what it's going to cost. That pays Custer to install and must go for the material.
Plus $2,000.
Correct.
I got one more question.
Yes.
Okay, on that east bank, 200 amp box, are they going to do anything different with the service that's running to the barn down there? Or will that?
That would, that's a question that we would need to answer for ourselves as far as, do we want that thing still tied in there? Because realistically, I don't think it probably should have been to begin with. But if we're dropping our load on that box down and we're going to a commercial box, it's realistically, we're now not doing things we probably should have done to begin with.
Just as long as they can come in and dress it up and make it right,
Correct.
that's what I'm concerned about.
Yes, that's what they, I mean, that's what Custer does. So
Okay.
that's why I'm not-
You have to only breakers, you know, I think, if you're
Yes.
putting a new box, you'll have to, because
Correct.
it's the same breakers, working the same.
Correct. Yeah, they won't be stab-on residential breakers.
The way I read the bonding is that it's just like the sales tax, it will be added on afterwards. That's the way
what's the bonding pertain to?
They have to be, yeah, they have to be bonded.
The contractors, or shouldn't they already be bonded? I mean,
I would think so.
to be a contractor, aren't they
Yeah.
required to
Yeah,
be bonded?
And I don't know what the
They
cost of
can't
bond.
charge you for it. If, normally it's included, they're self-bonded or they have to supply that $1 million policy or whatever is required in case like it fall and somebody get hurt. That's what that bonding's for,
Yeah, we should be receiving,
insurance.
yeah,
bonding.
insurance, certificates of insurance before it, as the bids come in, or before it starts.
And again, they have been on property very recently, from 2000 probably. Kevin, when did you do softball, like 2019?
Yeah.
I'd say 18, 19, I think was the last time a customer was on property.
And I looked up real quick, it's saying that on commercial lighting, LED over incandescent is 75% less energy. So it's significant.
There was, I know, another question I did want to bring up too, as far as, because Musco systems now are all, they're remotely monitored and you can turn them on remotely and all those types of things. I know you guys have asked what that would, if we were to say, hey, remove that line item, what would that cost? Basically, it's $4,000 per panel. Since we have 2 panels, we don't have lines running underneath our field. It would be $8,000 in savings if we were to say, hey, just give us a traditional key switch turn on, and we'd go to each side and turn it on like we do now.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what we get out of remote monitor.
Well, we had a failure when we first put that up there, and it just called Ross, and Ross turned them on. Didn't have to come back and mess with the panels or anything.
You're talking about softball lights?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Flip the switch on.
I guess I'd like to have clarification on the bonding part, that is concerned.
I just feel like it's a cost that we ought to know
Yeah,
going into it.
it should be included. I mean, otherwise wherever it's.
Mr. Sims, by chance, do you remember how that was handled previously? Their bonding? I know that's a very specific question on a long time ago project, but.
No, and you know, that was when Greg was here, that was when Mr. Brown was here, and you know, memory doesn't get me that strong, I guess.
It should be pretty cheap.
Yeah.
I knew that should be included.
Just an
It's
unknown.
not saying that.
All right, direction to proceed. I'm looking for that. We can move towards a vote. We can wait to see if there's any concerns on the bonding.
I'm getting an answer right now. Schools, obviously, we're tax exempt, that doesn't apply to us.
Right, the tax exempt doesn't apply, but the bonding part kind of leaves you open, because it should include
I've got
bonding.
3 dots spinning right now, forgive me.
Because all our other projects we've done has always been bonded by, paid by the other people. We didn't pay for any bonding fee.
We, asking the internet, it says there's no license and bonding requirement for Indiana contractors on the state level. So what I'm assuming is if we require bonding, then there will be additional charge. Do you believe everything you read on the internet?
I think you should. You got Abraham Lincoln by it.
President, when we move on to other business until he can
Okay,
figure
well,
that out.
let's double back to number 7 here. We'll get back to it here at the end. That way you can get your answer. Yeah, if you want to step outside, make a phone call or whatnot.
Yeah, I'll just go call him.
Okay, we will hold off on number 7A right now. Let's move forward. Something really exciting, more exciting. I need a motion to discuss for new business, Neola policy updates, revised for the special update July 2023. And that would be items number 1, 2, 3, 1 through 8, please.
I move that we approve the Neola policies 8A 1 through 8.
All right.
We'll never get it.
I know. All right, Mrs. Circle, can you give us updates on these policies?
Yes, we've all been waiting for this moment. So, here goes. What I am learning with the Neola policies is why we were kind of behind, because it seems like we do them and then they come back again with more language change. So many of these, we've already gone, some of them twice, and this will be the third time because of language change. So, the first 3 all are involved in the personal background check, references, and mandatory reporting. This will be the third time. They have done language changes on these. You'll notice they switched from a person to individual. They also added on here that there's some things that you could automatically allow, such as you could now decide that you wanted to hire someone wearing an ankle monitor, some other criminal offenses. I did not select those options.
Thought I had that covered.
Yeah. So I didn't select those options. The rest of this had us redoing the background checks, who's paying for it, so I just used the same language we approved the last time. So they also, after, on page 4, last time we added the whole list of charges, murder, suicide, all of that, and now they've taken those off. So those have been removed. This right here, as I told you, there's 3 different ones because one of them is administrative staff, one's professional staff, which is your certified staff, and then one is for the support staff. So there's 3 different policies. The language is the same. Any questions on that?
This applies to all 3 of them, I believe. And this is a section that's been stricken from current policy. What was in here was that the board requires that all references and, if applicable, the most recent employer is provided by applicant to be contacted before the corporation may hire the individual.
Reference check.
Are we taking that out, or I couldn't find?
Where is that at on here?
It's
There's a
under
lot.
eligibility. Right below that's the background checks, including the expanded
Yes.
criminal history. It's right in that section.
2-6.
I'm looking at the support staff one, I believe. That's on page 2 of 6.
2-6, that's what, yeah.
Are you saying it's taken out of it?
It's been stricken on this. It's in the pink.
Oh, yeah, they took that out of there. Yes. That's not an us change.
So are we not doing that, or are we just not, the board, it's saying the board doesn't require it?
It's saying the board doesn't require it, but we do that.
Yeah, but how do we know we do that? It's not in here.
Well, this isn't something we took out of there. This is legislation.
Okay.
Is it, and you're on the support staff one where it's removed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2/6, I think it applies to all of them.
Yeah, it's on all of them.
And I didn't really see where it was added in anywhere.
It wasn't a hard and fast rule anyhow.
No, but it's a good practice, right?
Oh,
I can't
yeah, it's good.
imagine.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's gonna be a policy that needs to be in the policy. not just an assumed policy.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, our recommendations for hiring. Curriculum. 2 of these have been before you before. Mandatory curriculum and adoption of, actually 3, adoption of curriculum and selection of curriculum. The mandatory curriculum, they added in language about teaching human sexuality. They added specific grade levels of 4 through 12. They also added, this is going to be key, I already talked to my administrators, that before instruction on human sexuality, a written request for consent is needed. And there is a huge amount of language on the new legislation on third-party vendors surveys. So if we give a third-party vendor survey, we have to do a written consent and send that to parents. Parents are allowed to see it. So that's where a lot of the screen is, that third-party vendor legislation that just came out. And you will see it in a couple of these policies later. It's added in several spots. The other one on human sexuality, the second one, it mimics the one about grades 4 through 12. It's just redone in a different policy. And then the next one, which was 2416, this language change again added the part about the third-party vendor, same language, that parents have the right, that we have to ask for consent with any third-party vendor. And then the adoption of curriculum material, 2510, this part discussed the fees. As you'll see, there's a lot of red and a lot of things crossed out, and that's the whole piece about that we cannot charge fees for curriculum materials. So those were the changes in all the curriculum. Any questions on that? Okay. Okay, the next ones are the student privacy and parental access. Oh, I skipped one. Oh, did I? I'm sorry. Okay, I went ahead of it, sorry. I already talked about that.
Going to adjunct teachers.
Okay. The adjunct teachers, this was another one, this is a second correction from us. And it actually mimics the first section on how we handle background checks and references and mandatory reporting. So they added that in the entire policy on adjunct teachers. So you'll see that mimicked within.
Real quick, what was A3?
AA3.
8A3.
Student privacy, she went through that on accident through the curriculum one.